Hello all. Now, in this video lecture, I'm going to explain about the single phase cycloconverter. So, you all know that the cycloconverter is a device which converts fixed AC to a variable AC with variation in voltage as well as frequency. Right? The difference between cycloconverter and AC voltage regulator is that in case of AC voltage regulator, uh, we can regulate the voltage and the frequency. But here in case of cycloconverter, we can regulate both voltage as well as frequency. So these are the some parameters you may require or apparatus you may require to conduct this test. Right. So you can see here cycloconverter trainer kit. I will show you all these component here. A firing circuit you need in order to fire the thyristors because we are using semi-controlled switch as thyristor here. You need a center tap transformer. You need one CRO, a resistive load, inductive load, because this experiment we are going to conduct for both R and RL load. Right, we need a voltmeter to measure the voltage. We need ammeter to measure the current. Right, some patch cuts and probes also we require. Right, now let's see the circuit configuration. Here you can see the circuit configuration of cycloconverter. Right, which consists of 4 thyristors here. T1 and T2 they are connected in anti-parallel. You know the meaning of anti-parallel. So if this will carry in right to left the current, in T1 the current is from left to right. Right, so they are connected in anti-parallel, and this is also one pair. Okay, so the clear operation we'll discuss in the class during the class session, but here we are going to use this cycloconverter to vary the voltage as well as frequency. Now you can see there are two waveforms here. A is for this R load and B is for RL load. So here you can keep the load either R or RL. So you can see the circuit configuration R load and RL load. So in between the terminal A and B, you can insert these loads, right? And these are the waveforms. So here T1 and T3 are triggered at the same time. T2, T4 are triggered at the same time. You can find T1, T2 here in the top pair, T2, T3, T3, T4 in the bottom pair. And here you can see the output voltage. There are two pulses in the positive half cycle and two pulses in the negative half cycle, which means the output frequency is now reduced by 2. So we'll get 25 hertz frequency for this one. So which is a step down cycloconverter now. Right, there are depending upon the frequency, the cycloconverter can be a step up cycloconverter or it can be a step down cycloconverter. If the output frequency is less than the input frequency, um, then it is called step down cycloconverter. If the output frequency of the cycloconverter is more than the input supply frequency, then it is called step up cycloconverter. So we'll see all those things. Here we discuss only step down cycloconverter. So you can find this is with respect to input supply. This is a complete cycle now, one cycle. So you can find this is positive half cycle. You can find this negative half cycle. These are expected waveform. So you cannot see the negative peak in case of resistive load, right? But in case of inductor load, you can see this negative peak here. Here negative peak here, and this negative peak it depends upon the peak is depends upon the value of inductor. So if you keep a large value of inductor, this peak will increase, right? Okay, so this is for the frequency division is 2. So if the frequency division is 4, you can get 4 positive pulses during positive half cycle, 4 negative pulses. Similarly here there will be 4 positive pulses and 4 negative pulses. So for that one, it is 150 by 4. That means 12.5 hertz you will get, right? So you can get any frequency. depending upon our requirement, we need to trigger which device is in conduction state. And these are the procedures you can find. I am document in the Abhyas portal. You can go through calculations, right? And this is the RMS output voltage in case of resistive load, and this is the RMS output voltage in case of RL load. And your previous batch did this experiment, and they obtained that you can see the theoretical calculation. You can find out theoretical calculation from these expressions at different values of firing angle. You can calculate what is the theoretical value, and you can also see the practical value here for R load. First we'll see. So those are matching with the theoretical values. Almost they are same. Almost they are same, right? So which means our theoretical values are matching with practical values, means the experiment which you are conducting is perfect good, right? Similar, you can see for RL load. Here also the output voltage theoretical and practical different values of duty ratio, duty cycle alpha, or firing angle alpha, and extinction angle beta. So for L equal 50 millihenry, L beta is 195, and it is always constant because it depends upon the inductor value. So we fix the inductor value, so you can get same value, right? Same beta value, which is 198 degrees. And you can see the output voltage, both theoretical and practical, they are matching each other, right? So let us go for the circuit configuration. So again, you just recall, this is the circuit configuration. Okay, where we'll be having 4 thyristors, one center tap transformer, right? MCB, then load, and to trigger all these things, we need firing angle, right? So now I will show you one by one. This is a source from where you are getting the input uh, to the this is a isolation transformer, the center tap isolation transformer. So you can see at the input side is 230 volts, but if you see the output side, you can get peak to peak 30 volts, peak to peak 60 volts, like that. You can get any voltage. So now there is a center point here, this block wire, which is connected to the this is the trainer kit. Okay, here you can see the cyclo converter trainer kit. Okay, and you can find 2 thyristors here, T1, T2, they are connected anti-parallel. Similarly, you can see 2 more thyristors here in the bottom pair, T3 and T4. You cannot able to see the T4. Let me see. Right now you can see the T4. They are connected in anti-parallel, right? And so the input to this Steiner quit is given from the center tap transformer. These are 3 wirings. Okay, and the output is extracted here. It is given to the respective thyristors, right? So the circuit is very complex. I don't want to show you the circuit configuration because now in order to fire these 4 thyristors, we need a gate pulse, right? So the gate pulse is given from the cycloconverter firing circuit unit. You can see uh, these are the T1, T2, T3, T4 gate terminals. Easily you can see here. Okay, and here you can find G1, G2, G1, G2, G3, G4, right? Which are the gate terminals which is given to the respective thyristors. And here you can see the cathode terminals C1, C2, C3, and C4, right? As they are given to, now you can see this is the firing pulse given to the T1 and T2, T1 gate and cathode. So here you can see now this block wire is this red wire is connected to T1 gate. Similarly, you can see this block wire is connected to T1 cathode. Similarly, you can see the remaining wires, right? So we will take C1 and G1 from here, and we will connect it to the gate and cathode terminals of thyristors T1. Similarly, we'll take the cathode and gate terminals from T2 and is given to the T2 here, right? So the internal configuration, same configuration you can see here. Now we need to short this anode and cathode here. Similarly, cathode and anode here. Similar in the bottom pair, the same thing is done here, right? And the output of these two short circuited winding wires are connected to the common load. Now I'm going to show you the load. Now, sorry, show you. So this is the wire. You can see the I have short circuited with red wire here. Okay, these are short circuited points. So from here the load is connected. So you can see the black wire here. Okay, the black wire is connected to you can see the load here, and the red wire is connected to the other terminal of the uh, load is to be connected to the center point. You can see at a center point, right? This point you can see the center point. Okay, so and uh, across the load we kept a voltage measuring element device here, which is a multimeter. Okay, right, which will read the voltage across the load. Similarly, you can see the voltage across the load with the help of the DSO. Here it is called DSO, digital storage oscilloscope. You can also use a CRO. Now I am going to show you the output. So you can also simulate the same circuit, and you can see the same simulated circuit and experimental circuit. Those both will be same. You will get, right, and in order to make the output happen, so these are the procedure. So first connections are to be given as per the circuit diagram, because this is a circuit diagram. Okay, same circuit we need to provide here. Okay, then switch on the power supply, right? Then keep the value of load resistance as 50 ohms or 100 ohms. Switch on the CRO. These are the few points you can go through the manual, right? Now now see, I have already given to the input supply to the transformer, isolation transformer. Now I am going to make the switch on, and firing pulse is already given. So with the help of this uh, button, you can make the firing off, you can make it on, right? And here you can see the firing angle knob, right? You can vary this at any value of firing angle. You can make it as 0, you can make it as 30, 60, 90, and up to 180 you can vary, right? And you can see one more knob here, which is a frequency division. Clearly you can see here. Now the frequency division is in 4, right? It is in 2, so which means there should be two positive pulses, and there should be two negative pulses, right? Let us start the experiment. So I am going to close this MCB. So if I close this switch MCB, as the frequency division is 2, I need to get two positive pulses and two negative pulses. And here you can see there are two positive pulses and negative pulses. So let me vary the firing angle. So you can see the variation in the voltage, right? Let me show you. There are two positive pulses and two negative pulses. Uh, right here you can see there are two positive pulses and two negative pulses, right? Similarly, if I increase the firing angle frequency division to uh, 4, right? Now I have increased the frequency division to 4, and I want to show you there should be 4 positive pulses and 4 negative pulses. You can see, right? Now you can see here there are 4 negative pulses. Similarly, you can see the 4 positive pulses, right? And now again I will move on to uh, the same frequency division, which is 2, right? Now I am going to show you the voltage waveform, voltage wave shape, as well as voltage variation, right? Voltage variation also I want to show you. right? uh, with the variation in the firing angle. So previously I kept the firing angle as now it is at 0 firing angle. Now I am increasing the firing angle, so you can see there is a reduction in the voltage, and you can see the waveform also. So different values of firing angle, if I keep on increase the firing angle, here you can see the variation in the firing angle. So here I am varying, now it is 120 degrees. So now at 120 degrees you can see the 17.2. Even you can also see the voltage across the load waveform. Okay, now I will stop the uh, scope here, and you can see there are clearly, you can see the two positive pulse and two negative pulse, which means in one cycle you are about to get two positive pulses and two negative pulses, means 1 by 2 means it is for 25 hertz, right? So if I increase the firing angle to a maximum of 180 degrees, here you can see the knob here, okay, which is at 180 degrees. Now if it is 180 degrees, we need to get almost zero voltage. So here you can see it is about 8 volts it is showing, but you cannot see the voltage across the load, which is almost zero, or almost 5 volts, right? So now by increasing the decreasing the firing angle, so you can see you can also see the voltage parallelly. So here I am decreasing the firing angle alpha, so which means the output voltage is getting increased. Now if I stop the scope here, you can see there are clearly there are two pulses in the positive half cycle, two pulses in the negative half cycle. Similarly, if I increase the frequency division to 4, again I want to make it as 4. So you won't see large variation in the output voltage, but you can see the frequency division. Right here you can see there are 4 negative half cycles, and if you move this side, there are 4 uh, positive half cycles, right? Similarly, I can increase to 6, some 8. Here you can see the knob is at 8. Okay, let me show you whether you are getting the same 8 pulses during positive half cycle or not. So now you can clearly see there are 8 positive half cycles, and there are 8 negative half cycles. Clearly you can see. Okay, so this is regarding the cyclo converter with R load. Similarly, if you keep the inductance in series with, you can able to see uh, the variation in the output voltage. So let me take right. So just now we have seen the waveforms for here inductance with the value some 50 millihenry, right? So now the load and R and L, they are connected in series. Okay, so now I am going to show you the effect of this inductance, load inductance. Now let me stop this waveform so that you can see the difference, right? So here you can find the peaks here, small peaks. That peak you can even you have seen in the case of the expected waveforms, right? So suppose if I short this inductor, the help of this wire, you can see here. So you can see if I open this one, which means there is an inductance in the load. So you can see the peak in the positive and negative half cycle, right? If I short this one, you can clearly see there is no positive and negative peaks in the waveform, right? Similarly, there is no there is a little difference in the output voltage. So if I remove this, you can see it is an inductive load, and due to presence of this negative and positive peaks, there is a reduction in the RMS output voltage, right? So then if I short this one, that means then now the load is only the resistive load, and the RMS output voltage will get increased, and you can see it about 40.4 volts, whereas with inductance it is 37.8 or 37.9 volts something, right? So this is the major difference between R load and RL load, and you can see the connections here, and the connection is very complex. You cannot uh, see in a proper way, and the connection is made as per this circuit diagram, right? Everything is there. So after MCB you will find 3 points. One is giving 24 volts, another is giving 24 volts, and which are giving connected to the anti-parallel thyristors. Same thing you can see here in this figure, right? So now with the inductance effect, I am going to increase the firing angle, so you can see the reduction in the voltage, right? So a different firing angle, you can see the different values of RMS output voltage, and similarly you can if you stop this wave pulses, you can easily see the difference in the RMS output voltage waveform, right? So thank you. This is all about the cycloconverter, right? For more details, you can watch my YouTube videos for this the operation and principle of the cycloconverter, right? Thank you so